In this video, I'm going to show you how to turn one podcast episode that either you hosted or you were hosted on as a guest into 30 plus pieces of content in less than 1 hour using a bunch of different AI tools that I will show you with prompts and links and everything. All right, typical scenario, right? You just went on a podcast, you had a really cool guest on, conversation was flowing, going really well, had some insights that were shared, maybe it was 30 minutes, an hour, right? And then at the end of the podcast, you get your edits done and then you post it online, and then you just never do anything with it again, right? I think that's a huge missed opportunity, and a lot of founders don't leverage their media appearances, specifically with podcasts, enough. And so I'm going to show you exactly how to do it, how to take the transcript, how to take the video, turn it into clips, turn the transcript into a bunch of LinkedIn text posts that use your voice, and a lot of other stuff. So it's gonna be really, really cool. Before we get started, if you need to set up any of your foundational elements that you don't already have for AI prompts, so things like a detailed company overview, your founder voice profile, or a detailed description of your ideal customer persona, right? So your ICP, go to this other doc here that I have, the how to turn any sales call into a month of content using AI. I have a bunch of information there on how to build out those foundational docs that will help you to actually give more context to AI, whether you use Claude or GPT, to get better outputs, right? Because AI, a lot of people, they just throw a basic prompt in, hey, make me a blog post about this, and then they're upset because it doesn't have their voice. But the AI can't do a good job if it doesn't have your examples of what's good and what's bad, right? So that's why we need to build those foundational assets. So go do that first if you haven't already. Now, step one, jumping right into it, you need to get your podcast material. So if it's a podcast that you host, you'll have your audio recording rights to the raw recording, either Zoom, Riverside, whatever platform you're using. By the way, I recommend Riverside. It's really good. And then if it's a podcast where you were a guest, then just go and request the recording from the host. Usually they'll give you this, no problem, right? And then you get a transcript for the recording. So if it's a video or audio, you can upload it to the script. And then alternatively, if it is a video podcast, then you get it from YouTube. So I'll show you how to do that right now. In this example, the podcast that we're going to be running with is this one right here. So it was a podcast it was an interview recently published 2 days ago with the Vast CEO. His name is Max Hout. I'm obviously messing that up. And it's you're talking about his space station company, right? And so he was being interviewed by NASA. So it was or NSF Live, sorry. So here you just scroll down and you hit show transcript. Right over here, you can either include the timestamps or not. And then you just select all the text here. So you start up here, scroll down to here, and then usually I leave out the outro stuff. Command C, I have the copy, and that's the transcript. So that's how we use it there. And then so once you have the transcript, you're going to feed it into AI along with your foundational context. So this is, I'm going to skip this step because I didn't build this out for Vast for this example, but this is where you would have your company overview, your ICP, and your founder voice profile, which gives examples of how you communicate and do's and don'ts of using your voice. All right. And then we're going to go ahead and open that in Claude right here. I'll show you. So I've pasted the transcript and I'm going to paste the prompt right here. What we're doing first is we're starting off with finding the highlights of the podcast. So between John Galloway of BNSF and year of vast space stations, discussing space stations and the space station economy, catering to vast. I'm just going to amend this here. ICP's perspective, please find that. So we're extracting for our ICP, we're finding all of our favorite or all the key highlights here that we want to focus on. We got some key quotes, examples, right? Keep a simple design philosophy, vertical integration strategy, modular station architecture. So it's things that are different, specific frameworks they've got, counterintuitive claims, interesting questions. So you see how now just from this one transcript, we've turned this into a set of questions that we can actually, or a set of highlights that we can focus on for all of our content afterwards. So now go on to the next step. So video clip creation. So you can start this in parallel. What you do is you take the URL of the video podcast. And this is obviously an optional step, assuming it's a video podcast or a video interview, then that you're going to go to Opus and you're going to upload it there. This is an example. I've already done it, but you just basically go to the Opus homepage, click dashboard, paste the URL, hit generate, and usually 1 hour of content should get you about 30 clips. So here, now we have these videos. The step-by-step process that we're going to follow is we're going to go through and look at each of the clips, and we're going to try to make sure that it starts with an interesting or catchy opening sentence. So a good hook, essentially. The idea is that for short form videos that we're going to post on YouTube, on LinkedIn, they have to have a hook, something interesting to capture attention. Otherwise, nobody's going to want to listen to it, right? So we really have to focus on that. And then you basically proofread the captions as well. Then you go through and you like the ones that you want to save. So we have a filter view, so that just has the ones that you keep. You dislike the ones you don't want to use. And then at the end, with all the ones that you have left, you're going to take the transcripts, so that the actual transcripts from that clip, feed it into AI and ask it to generate you a short text post to go along with it. Otherwise, because when you're posting a clip, you need to have some accompanying text, right? It can't be empty. So here's an example. So I'll do one clip just to show you how I think through.
Some money from the taxpayers. So we hope the...
I'm going to go to edit. I click that little edit, little scissors there. All right. So I'm going to listen to the video and I'm going to find a good hook point.
So we hope the General Isaac man touching word that it will be confirmed, and obviously the congressional and the Congress and Senate will double down on the need for another new, more modern, lower cost, less money from the taxpayer.
Okay. So if I'm reading the transcript, two hooks that I can make here, right? So people in the space industry, they know about Jared Isaacman, right? Space entrepreneur or aerospace entrepreneur that recently did a spacewalk. You could say something like, take this out, right? Because we want to make it more interesting. It's like the first 3 seconds have to catch people's attention, right? So play that. It'll be confirmed, obviously. So we'll take out, and then also you can go here to the AI enhance and remove any pauses. That makes it a little bit punchier. Take out that one word right there. And then we just have this. That's the hook. The other hook point you could do is the space station costs a lot of money to operate. So that's kind of like a controversial thing. Like, should we deorbit the space station or not? So you could open with that, but we'll just keep it like this. And then I would go through and I would edit out anything that doesn't add to the point, any points where he repeats himself, where he kind of hesitates, and I just make it more tight and punchy overall. And then afterwards, you just save changes. And then once it's done loading, I would hit the heart to save it. And then I would go on to the next clip. And I do that for all the clips until I have the amount of clips that I want to have saved. And then at the end, you can download them all in one shot and then schedule them into your social tool. Again, I would take the transcript. I'll show you what that looks like. And actually take all this text here and then copy that, paste that into Claude or GPT. And I would then ask it to write a short summary of the text, basically as an accompanying text to go with this short clip for social media in my voice. Okay, so going back to the next steps, launch that. It usually takes about 10 to 20 minutes to get the clips. So launch that while you're doing the rest of this work. So you upload it and get it to start. And then afterwards, you can go back and do the editing at the end. For the text content creation, so at this point, you need to get a swipe file of high performing posts. Again, refer to that other document that I have at the start of this one, where we actually talk about going and finding those posts and creating a swipe file just to save a doc on the side where you have posts that did really well in your niche. You can use things like Taplio, which is a platform for LinkedIn post creation and research. And you can use that to find really good posts, or you can even just go and find top influencers in your industry and just follow them and scroll through their posts and find the ones where they did a good job, or just scroll through your feed. So those are the main options. You want to have at least 5 to 10 posts. In my swipe file, I have 55 posts right now. And I just keep building it out. Every time I find a post that does really well, I copy it and I put it in there. And there's all kinds of different frameworks for how to make a good one. Here, then you're going to feed. So once you have that swipe file of good formatted or well-formatted posts that are very engaging for LinkedIn that you like and that resonate well with your ICP, you're going to feed the transcript into your AI if you haven't already. If you're already in a chat where you have the transcript, you don't need to do this a second time. And then you create a set of LinkedIn posts based on this prompt right here. So we're going to go and select this. All right, here we go. This is the actual prompt that we would use. And these were the insights that it picked out. And then it focused on the modular independence design insight. So you notice in the prompt, it says basically pick the insight that's most relevant to our ICP and then highlight it and then make 5 different posts that attack it from different angles based on that insight, what our ICP cares about, and then also my voice. So you end up with posts that basically explore it from different perspectives, and you can think that you can schedule those out further out. So you're always bringing your concepts back on your social media. This one, right, Haven 2, completely reimagined space station architecture with independence at its core. Contrarian, so 3 traditional aerospace rules we're breaking with Haven 2, so kind of like controversial. Problem solution. The problem with space stations isn't technology, it's resilience. Every orbital habitat in history has been vulnerable to single point failures. So we get a really technical perspective, which matches Vast CEO's voice and how he was conducting himself in the interview. And also all the insights are very specific. And so we didn't have to write any of this from scratch. It was just taken from the podcast. And then with the appropriate context given, we get these really cool outputs that actually are pretty decent posts that he could just go on like this. So where is this one here? Key insights. Someone gave a different one here. Keep it simple philosophy. So this is, and you can imagine all the insights that are highlighted, right? So here there's 7, the main insights from that interview. We can just attack all of them from different perspectives and schedule a bunch of posts. So in reality, you could probably end up with 5 posts for each of these key insights, right? So really you could get like 35 posts from all these different approaches, right? But in this example, we're just going to keep it pretty simple and go fast, right? So here, technical deep dive, storytelling. When I founded Vast, I noticed a pattern in commercial space. Yeah, see, this is really cool. Vast CEO could probably just go ahead and post this as is with maybe a couple minor tweaks, make sure that everything is technically sound and actually fits the capabilities of the company. They don't want to misrepresent anything, right? So there's just a quick editorial pass through and then they're good to go and post like this, right? Going back here, continuing. So that's how you get your text post. Then when you want to get your blog post, there's a couple of ways that you can do it. First, we need to get a couple of keywords that we want to have, right? So Google Keyword Planner, Uber Suggest, or Answer the Public. You put in your website. In this case, I put in Vast website and the top keywords that came up were space exploration, International Space Station, space travel, etc. So we just pick a few of those, and then those are the main ones. In this case, we'll go space exploration, International Space Station, commercial space station, Vast space station, and that's 4. That's good enough for our purposes. And then we're gonna go back here. So once you have the keywords, then you're going to go and use something like Chats or ChatGPT or Claude to transform the transcript into a structured blog post. You can try this with Claude. I like WriteSonic and ChatSonic. It does a pretty good job, but this is an example of the output that I got when I used ChatSonic for it. So you can see rise of commercial space stations, a new era in space exploration. It's pretty decent. It's got some technical specs. Listen, it's a little light in my opinion. I'd probably want to expand it a bit more. I don't know how many words this is, but it seems short to me. But overall, it's a pretty good job. And I'm not sure if they'd want to mention their competitors here, like Axiom and these other companies. So maybe they'd want to edit that out. But anyway, it's a good first start. Anyway, so that's the simple way to do that. You can also use the transcript and as its own blog post. And so this is another way to get a lot of keywords and a lot of presence on your website is to just take either if you don't have your own website for the podcast, have it as a blog post. So episode, whatever, a guest name on topic, and then you have like transcript. And then in there you have a short summary of the episode. And then all the transcript is nicely formatted, a little bit of editing to be done there. And then you have the links there to actually watch and listen to it. So this is another way to build more content on your website. Email newsletter, you take this prompt and you paste this, and same thing with the transcript. And do that. And that is now your newsletter. You send it as a broadcast email, and then you add it into your nurture flow. Easy way to expand your nurture sequences there. And then finally, planning and publishing, you just go through one of these scheduling tools, Buffer, Hootsuite, whatever, and use those to schedule everything out. And keeping in mind that you want to probably alternate the points that you're focusing on instead of have 5 posts about one point and then 5 posts about another, or spread them out a little bit, right? So schedule them kind of like in a staggered format. And then ideally, in a lot of the content or all of it, you tag the podcast guest that was on there or the podcast that you were on. Obviously, ask them to share it with their audience the first couple of posts. And then you can also share some custom snippets with them that they can share, right? And then if there are some that are doing well, especially on LinkedIn, you can do a thought leader ad and give it a little bit of paid promotion if you want to get some extra reach in your niche. So you can put an extra $100 or $200 behind a specific post just to get extra reach on it. So now ultimately, you end up with one podcast episode has become a full comprehensive blog post, optionally one transcript blog post as well, one email newsletter, 5 to 20 LinkedIn text posts, and 10 to 20 short clips on YouTube and LinkedIn with the accompanying text that goes with those shorts. So that is the system from end to end. It's pretty straightforward. And as you can see, if you go through this really fast, it should take you less than 1 hour and you'll have basically a whole month of content just from one podcast appearance. Super efficient way to generate a lot of niche content. And if this is something that you want help with, let me know. You can book a call with me at 3victor.io. My agency will actually help you to launch your podcast, reach out to guests, get them on there, repurpose all the content. Your podcast can even include employees, so conversations with subject matter experts internally. There's all kinds of different ways that we can prepare this and get it so you're talking to people about your expertise and demonstrating it, and also generating meaningful content with a lot of stories and educational and also entertainment value all together in one place. Otherwise, use this process, run with it, and I hope you see all the success that you want.